The leather-clad bikers at Rosie's diner had seen it all. Or so they thought. It was a Saturday morning in late October when Maya Chen walked through the door, her oversized denim jacket practically swallowing her 17-year-old frame. The jacket was a patchwork disaster, faded, frayed at the edges, covered in what looked like marker doodles and mismatched fabric squares sewn on with uneven stitches. Big Rick was the first to notice. He elbowed his buddy Snake, and soon the entire corner booth of the Iron Riders Motorcycle Club was chuckling behind their coffee mugs. They weren't cruel men, not really. Just rough around the edges, used to their matching leather vests and chrome-shined bikes. "Kid looks like she lost a fight with a craft store," Snake muttered. Maya felt their eyes on her but kept her head down, sliding into a booth near the window. She was used to the stares. The jacket had that effect on people. Rita, the diner's owner, came over with a warm smile. "Coffee, sweetheart, just water, please," Maya said quietly. "I'm meeting someone." As Rita walked away, one of the younger bikers, a guy called Torch, raised his voice just loud enough to carry. "Hey, think she made that thing herself? My grandma quilts better than that." The table erupted in laughter. Maya's cheeks burned, but she pulled the jacket tighter around herself. Her fingers traced over one particular patch on the left shoulder, a small square of camouflage fabric with a name embroidered in gold thread, Sergeant James Chen. The bell above the door chimed, and an elderly man in a wheelchair rolled in, pushed by a middle-aged woman with tired eyes. Maya's face lit up. She jumped to her feet. "Mr. Patterson," she called out, rushing over. The bikers watched as the teenage girl knelt beside the wheelchair, taking the old man's weathered hand in both of hers. His face, lined with age and old scars, broke into a trembling smile. "There's my girl," he rasped. "Right on time, as always." The woman pushing the wheelchair looked at Maya with unmistakable gratitude. "Thank you so much for coming, Maya. Dad's been talking about this all week." Rita appeared with coffee and menus. As the three settled into a larger booth, the bikers' attention drifted back to their own conversation, though Big Rick found himself occasionally glancing over at the unlikely trio. What he saw confused him. The girl was completely focused on the old man, leaning in to hear his quiet words, laughing at his stories, showing him something on her phone. At one point, she carefully helped guide his shaking hand as he tried to hold his coffee cup. "Vietnam," Big Rick heard the old man say. "Mekong Delta, 1969. The girl listened with an intensity that seemed impossible for someone her age, asking questions, genuinely engaged. When their food arrived, she casually cut the old man's pancakes into smaller pieces without making it seem like a big deal. Snake noticed it too. "Huh," he grunted. "Don't see that every day." An hour passed. The bikers had moved on to talking about the upcoming Veterans Day ride they organized every year, a tradition where they escorted elderly veterans to the memorial downtown. As Mr. Patterson's daughter wheeled him toward the door, Maya walking alongside them, the old man suddenly raised his hand, gesturing for them to stop. Right next to the bikers' booth. Big Rick looked up, unsure what was happening. Mr. Patterson's eyes, though faded with age, held a sharp intelligence. He looked directly at Big Rick and said, "See this young lady's jacket?" The bikers shifted uncomfortably. Maya looked mortified. "Mr. Patterson, it's okay," she started. "No, sweetheart," the old man interrupted gently. "They should know." He turned back to the bikers. "You boys ride for veterans." Big Rick nodded slowly. "Every Veterans Day, 15 years running." "Good," Mr. Patterson said. "Then you'll appreciate this." He reached out with a shaking hand and touched the camouflage patch on Maya's shoulder. This was her father's, Sergeant James Chen, killed in Afghanistan, 2019. Maya was 12. The laughter from earlier suddenly felt like lead in their stomachs. But Mr. Patterson wasn't done. He pointed to another patch, a piece of navy blue fabric with an anchor. "That one's from Lieutenant David Morrison. Served in the Gulf War. He was Maya's neighbor. Died last year from cancer." Another patch, this one Marine Corps Red. Staff Sergeant Robert Hughes. 2 tours in Iraq. He lived 3 houses down. The old man's finger moved across the jacket, identifying patch after patch. Each one was a veteran. Each one had a story. And Maya had collected them all. "There are 23 patches on this jacket," Mr. Patterson said, his voice growing stronger with pride. 23 veterans from this town who served their country. Some made it home, some didn't, some came back different, but this girl, his voice cracked slightly, this girl makes sure every single one of them is remembered. Maya's eyes were glistening. They gave me pieces of their uniforms, she said softly. Or their families did. I sewed them on myself. I know it looks messy, but nothing, the old man's daughter interrupted, her own eyes wet. My father was drowning in his memories until Maya started visiting him. She interviews veterans, records their stories, helps them fill out VA paperwork. She's 17 years old and she's done more for our veterans than most people do in a lifetime. Rita had stopped wiping down tables. The entire diner had gone quiet. Big Rick felt something tighten in his chest. He slowly stood up, his 6'4" frame towering over the booth. The other bikers followed suit. "Ma'am," Big Rick said, his voice rough with emotion. "We owe you an apology." Maya shook her head quickly. "No, really, it's..." "Yes," Snake interrupted. "Really, we do." He looked at the jacket with new eyes. "That's not just a jacket. That's a memorial." Torch looked absolutely devastated. "My uncle's a vet," he said quietly. "He won't talk about his service. Won't accept help from anyone." He met Maya's eyes. "How do you get them to open up?" Maya's expression softened. "You just listen, and you don't give up on them, even when they push you away." She touched her father's patch. "My dad used to say that the hardest part of service wasn't the war. It was coming home and feeling like nobody understood." Big Rick exchanged glances with his crew. Then he reached into his vest and pulled out a worn photograph. It showed a young Marine with Big Rick's eyes. "My son," he said simply. "Fallujah, 2005. Maya's hand went to her mouth. "I've got his dress blues in storage," Big Rick continued. "Never knew what to do with them." "I'd be honored," Maya said immediately. "If you'd want to add him." Big Rick nodded, not trusting his voice. Snake cleared his throat. "The Veterans Day ride. We could use someone who actually knows how to talk to these guys. Think you might be interested?" Maya's face transformed. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious," Big Rick said. "We ride for veterans. Looks like you live for them." Rita wiped her eyes with her apron. "Breakfast is on the house," she announced. "And Maya, honey, you bring those veterans in here anytime." Maya looked overwhelmed, glancing down at her jacket. 23 patches. 23 stories. "There's one more thing," Torch said hesitantly. He pulled a small American flag patch from his vest. "My uncle gave me this. It was on his uniform in Desert Storm." He held it out to Maya. "I'd like it to be number 24. And maybe you could help me reach him." Maya took the patch with trembling hands. "I'd love to." As Mr. Patterson left, the old veteran raised his hand in a crisp salute. "Ride safe, gentlemen, and take care of my girl." "Yes, sir," Big Rick responded, returning the salute. Maya headed for the door, pulling her patched jacket tight. Behind her, the bikers gathered around Big Rick's phone, looking at pictures of his son. She climbed onto her bike, a beat-up Yamaha her dad had taught her to ride, and touched each patch, one by one, whispering names like a prayer. 23 stories, soon to be 24. And as she rode away, the sun caught the patches on her jacket, making them glow like medals. A memorial on the move. A promise kept, because sometimes, all it takes is one person to remind us what really matters. And sometimes, the uniform that deserves the most respect is the one sewn together with love, one story at a time.